Okay, am I live? Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3, testing. Hey guys, AJ here. Hey, what's up, y'all? Now that season 4 is here and a lot of people are pretty much maxing out their characters, and I maxed out one, but there are some people just literally in attempt to like max out all 4 characters. That is going to be a lot of work. But anyway, I just wanted to talk about after all of the different setups and trials that I've done, I'm just going to just tell you my setup and what works for me. It's like nearly complete. It's got like a few more tweaks that I got to do, and I found one little issue with it, but for the most part, it's good to go. I just did a glitch. You can watch that glitch if you want, solo. But anyway, let me talk about my setup real quick. Now, one thing that I'm gonna mention is this is my setup and what works for me. You can take this as information, and if it's something that doesn't work for you, then that's fine. I just wanted to share my setup, and I'm gonna explain why some of the things work for me. Now, with that being said, right? Let me just start from the beginning. My major is Crash Cart. It gives me a self-revive. And my jump is going to be, my minor is going to be the kinetic jump. There are times when I'm doing a glitch, I might switch to the grappling hook. I do use it in certain situations, but this is the one that I like, so this is the one that I work with. Now, as far as my 4, now I can say 4 skill streaks is Bulldozer. Usually it was Bulldozer, Berserker, and Eagle Eye. And my setup worked perfectly. The only problem is the way I got my gun set up, the only flaw was it reloaded slow. And that was the only problem that I had with my last setup. So I knew that if I was saying that like a month ago, I wish I had one more ability, then it would be perfect. And that's Gunner. So now that I have Gunner, now that my guns can shoot really good and they reload fast, everything is perfect. So I would have been perfectly fine with just the 4th skill set. Now, having an extra exotic skill and having an extra nightmare, that's even icing on top of that. So anyway, let me talk about them. My exotic skill is the epic shield, the echo shield, and I have resurrection. Basically, I tried a lot of different nightmares, right? There's a lot of decent good ones, but there's a lot of different, like a lot of good exotic skills. I tried a lot of them. Some of them I really didn't like at all, and some of them I was bouncing back and forth with, like this one, these gravitational rounds. I did use this, and it actually works out pretty good. A lot of times, a lot of things hit me and they just disappear. But a lot of things, but not everything. It doesn't catch every single thing, but it catches a lot. Now, my Shattered Shield, to me, I tried this, and I was really bouncing back between Shattered Shield and the Echo Shield. And I said to myself, I don't want to just use this just because everybody else is using it, just because all of the people on YouTube says, hey, just run this and don't worry about it. I did try this, and I see the benefit of it. I shocked them and all of that stuff. But there are a lot of times when I'm getting shot up on a rooftop from places that I don't know where they're shooting me from, and it does protect me mostly up close when enemies are surrounding me. Protects me when enemies are surrounding me, and it protects me when enemies are far away. It's my back, but a lot of people say, okay, it's not that big of a deal, but it makes a really big difference. If you ever used it before, make sure you use it maxed out. And I'm not saying that it works for everybody, but I tried them both, and I personally like this more. I feel like there are times when the T-Rex one-shot me with my Shattered Shield. My Shattered Shield went off, but he still killed me. He hit me, he tried to one-shot me with this, and as I was running away, and my shield protected me about 80%. I did feel it, but I didn't die. So this protected me way more. And there's times when I pick up like a player on the ground, and as I'm picking them up, enemies are shooting me and trying to melee me as I'm picking up a player, and I barely feel anything. So like I said, to each his own. I like this more than I like Shattered Shield. And my second favorite was this. These are the two that I was going to rock. But the reason why I didn't choose that is because, as you can see, I chose Resurrection. The reason why I chose Resurrection is there are times when I'm doing like and I'm doing a nightmare or something, and there are some things that I don't know why, but they kind of like one-shot me. If I'm standing in the wrong spot or something like that, or maybe my controller dies, anything can happen. Now, that's the reason why I got Crash Cart. But the problem is I used to have Tactician. Tactician would make it so my Crash Cart would charge up really fast. So if I use my Crash Cart, I'd be like really paranoid to like try to like escape, chill for a little while until my Crash Cart charged up again. And then I can feel like I can be like invincible going inside the building, because if I die, I know that if I go down, I can pick myself back. In case you didn't know, when you fully max it out, you can use your self-revive, and it recharges on its own and gives you back another self-revive. Has nothing to do with the Crash Cart self-revive. So it's like I have two ways to get myself up now. So basically, if something gets me down, I can use my resurrection and keep my Crash Cart. And if something's really bad going on, and if I'm forced to use my Crash Cart again, that means I'm in an area that I shouldn't be in and I need to escape. But I do love the fact that I have two ways to get myself out. So to me, having a second way to pick myself up was more important than having something else that can benefit me as far as like crowd control goes. I figured I could just get my crowd control in another way, like putting something on my gun, which I did. So with that being said, that's my exotic skill. My nightmare, the two nightmares that I chose is Phoenix Burst and Frost Blast, Frost Vortex. The reason being, there's a few nightmares that I did like. This one I really like the most. I tried this one, it was pretty cool. This one doesn't work for my style of play. You gotta melee it for the work. I think this is the worst one flying around. And this one is good, it's just that it doesn't kill a lot it's not that strong. So it all boiled down to chaos rounds, and it came up to the Frost Vortex. Both of them help with crowd control. The only reason why I didn't want to go with chaos rounds is because my gun is set up a certain way, and I wanted to keep activating that certain way. I don't want to go and try to burn an enemy or try to do something else to an enemy, and he ends up freezing them instead of burning them, or he might do something else. I like the fact that the way I have my gun set up has nothing to do with the way I have my crowd control. So basically, my Frost Vortex is going to activate a vortex. It's not going to try to turn an enemy. It's not going to try to, electrocute them. It's just going to make the vortex, and my vortex is going to do its thing separately from what my guns are going to do. Like I said, that's what worked for me. And to me, the Phoenix Burst is just another way to protect me. So my shield protects me a lot. But there's some times when I get into a heated fight, and anytime I see my hand go out, like the way I look at it is, wait, hold on, you didn't know, you should have died and you didn't. Like what you should do is you should plate up. That's my player telling me, hey, I got my hand up and I just stopped you from dying. So whatever you're doing, it ain't working because I just saved you from dying. And if it happens again after this, like you're invincible for a little while. After this invincibility is over, if you keep doing what you're doing, you're gonna die. It reminds me of that as I'm in a fight. So anytime that happens, I say, okay, my player just reminded me that I'm about to die and I should have died, but the Phoenix Burst saved my life. So I just step back a little bit and I either plate up or I start shooting into enemies. I start shooting into enemies because my Berserker, in case you didn't know, when I'm shooting enemies, I get my armor back as I'm shooting enemies. So that does help me out significantly. So this one helps me out a ton. So my setup, the way I designed my setup is I wanted to make sure with Eagle Eye I do as much damage as I possibly could to the enemy. So I'm not going to get into every single thing, but the one that I care about the most is this increased critical damage. And the increased critical damage, I love the fact that it does more damage. I just wasn't using it correctly. So I had to figure out a way to utilize it so I can do the utmost damage when I'm fighting an enemy. So the way I use it is it's like different multipliers. So I figured out a way to really take down an enemy really good. It's not just one thing that does it. It does a lot. So there are some things that help you with multiple enemies, like Rampage, and there's some things that help you like Rampage, and there's some others. Let me see. There's Rampage, and let me see. Well, this helps you when your health is low. But let me just tell you let me just tell you what works for me. Let me just go to my guns real quick. My guns, if you take a good look at them, they have sharpshooter on both of them. Sharpshooter, and I have gravitational rounds, and I got mortar rounds, because I specifically wanted to have these for crowd control. I just felt like if I burn an enemy, I do way more damage. But I also said I can't neglect crowd control. Now, I do have crowd control with the Storm, but that's the one and only thing I have. So I wanted to add another layer to crowd control. That's the reason why I chose this. Now, yeah, if I would have put multi rounds, I'd be doing a little bit more damage. But I said, you know what? I need to get the enemies off my back as I'm trying to kill them. So in some ways, this actually helps me even more. So that's what works for me. The knife doesn't really matter. But one thing I am going to mention about the knife is, you see my secondary ability, light speed? Light speed makes it so I can run around really fast. I'm not going to keep those frost rounds on it. I'm going to probably put something else. But I really care about getting light speed. In case you didn't know, when you have your knife out, you can run around the map a little faster. But having this on makes you run around the map even more faster. So the way I design my character is, I have it so it has sharpshooter, like I said. And in case you didn't know, it does damage to the upper torso. It gives you more critical kills, and by getting critical kills this way, right, is gonna allow me to take more advantage of Eagle Eye's increase in critical kills. So anytime I'm getting yellow hit markers, this is gonna increase the yellow hit markers and make my whatever elite that I'm trying to kill is gonna give me even more damage power. In addition to that, if I happen to be killing an elite, and I start if I have a second to start shooting them up close, wait, what I'm gonna show you? Oh yeah, if I get an opportunity to start shooting an enemy up close, this bulldozer is going to activate. So I'm going to be getting critical kills, and I'm going to be getting point blank kills at the exact same time. So I'm going to be dealing even more damage. And then on top of that, I have this attachment on my gun that whatever headshots that I'm doing, it gives me multiple. It gives me it's like a headshot multiplier, and all of my counts is counting as headshots. So I'm going to be doing an additional more damage. So anytime I'm going to have an elite, even from a distance, I'm doing a lot of damage. Just up close, it multiplies on top of that to do even more damage. The only thing that I wish I would have had is I wish I would have had the actual hyper surge instead of this, because it shoots a little bit more accurately. But I don't really have the full breakdown of the biggest difference between this and the hyper surge. The only thing that I notice is it reloads a little bit faster. I mean, not reload. It aims a little bit easier, and it has a better camo. But oh yeah, in my field equipment is, I tried every single one of them, and I'm not gonna say any of them bad. I like the let me see, impact grenades. I was using those for a very long time. The only reason why I switched to stun grenades is because there are times when I'm fine if I'm playing casual games, but if I'm trying to do a nightmare, there's enemies from all over the place, right? And sometimes I don't necessarily got to kill them right away. I just got to get them off my back for a second. And sometimes when you throw a grenade, it might not kill them. It might not be in a radius. But a stun grenade, the radius is kind of deep, so I can stun them, and then I can start shooting the enemies around me. And then after the enemies in front of me is killed, I can turn around, and the ones that I just stunned, I can start killing them. So to me, a lot of people like to use EMPs, but the EMPs work very good for the robots. But this works for the robots too. It works for the elites. They actually buffed this. It works for the elites also. Not all the time. For some reason, sometimes it doesn't work. But I would say majority of the time it actually works. So to me, this works best for me. Like I said, you can try whatever you want, but this one works best for me. So my setup is complete. The only flaw that I have with my setup is I was under the impression, or I had an assumption, you're never good to assume, that I thought the majority of weapons had sharpshooter on it. So naturally, when I finished this setup, I was going to move on to another two, like LMG and another assault rifle, and put sharpshooter on them. But I found out that there's only like 5 or 6 guns in the entire game that actually have sharpshooter. So I'm going to change my strategy up a little bit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get the actual hyper surge instead of pretty much like this one is. And then I'm going to change one thing on the knife and probably give it multi rounds. So if anybody walks into me as I'm running, they could just disappear with the gravitational rounds. I'm sorry. So they can just disappear as I'm running around the map with my knife out. And then I'm going to focus on any gun, regardless if it has sharpshooter or not. And every now and then, when I need to, if I need to like switch weapons, I switch weapons, but I keep everything else here the same. So anyway, that's pretty much my setup in a nutshell, and that's what works for me. Sorry the video was longer than it needed to be, but I'm just gonna end the video now. I'll chat with y'all later. Peace out.